Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here in Columbus, Ohio, visiting my sister for the holidays. And I'm also sick, so if you hear some kind of nasally things in my voice, that's why. But I'm still here to give you the astrology for the weeks of December 26th, 2022 through January 8th, 2023. Before I get started, I just want to remind you to like, subscribe, throw in a comment if you want to. That'll really help the channel to grow. As always, I am, well, not as always, but I am available for consultations in the next several weeks. So if you're interested, please reach out. Okay, so we start off really Wednesday the 28th. This is kind of tied into the whole week. Essentially, so Venus makes a sextile to Neptune on Wednesday the 28th. This is, Venus is about love and beauty and connection, and Neptune is about seeing the ideal. Neptune wants to merge with something else or someone else. So this is about, maybe seeing people with rose-colored glasses or feeling very connected to others or connections coming more easily. It's a very romantic aspect. And then on Thursday the 29th, Mercury stations retrograde at 24 degrees of Capricorn, really close to the planet Pluto, a planet about transformation, death and rebirth, intensity, passion. And on the same day, Venus conjoins Mercury. So Mercury is stationing retrograde essentially in a conjunction with Venus, who just made this sextile to this very dreamy, romantic Neptune. So, okay, let me break this down. First of all, whenever we have Mercury retrogrades, that indicates that we are either deeply processing something now or going to be deeply processing something. And probably both, like as Mercury approaches this retrograde, the point of going retrograde, it's slowing way down. And so there's kind of an emphasis in this part of your chart, in the part of your chart that contains Capricorn. And Mercury in Capricorn really wants to make a plan. Capricorn is a winter sign. It's the first sign of winter. And so it's all about planning ahead for survival and, creating systems and structures. And, Capricorn rules the bones of the body. It's like the thing that holds everything else up. And so Mercury and Capricorn retrograding here is about kind of reviewing certain systems that you might have in place around different topics of life. This is going to depend on what house you have Capricorn on the cusp of. And it's going to feel intense, right? Because Pluto is a planet of life or death stakes. Pluto rules over things that are beneath the ground, beneath the surface that we might not have seen before. So this is really going to be about examining very closely certain structures or systems that might not have been working for us, or where we might have missed something before, and especially with Venus here too, Venus being a planet about love and beauty and art and romance and connectivity and pleasure. This is really about reviewing maybe certain systems or structures you have in place around relationships or around what you desire in general. Venus is about desire. So yeah, it's kind of an intense, and it's like funny this is happening right around New Year's, because it's like people want to just like party and have fun on New Year's and celebrate. And this brings more of an intense flavor to the day or to the week. So, this could involve having very romantic, connective conversations with someone, or maybe just feeling a strong pull towards someone that's more of an intense or serious nature, a deep attraction for someone. Could involve receiving intense messages or news around women, Venus representing women, Mercury representing news and messages. Mercury is also the rules over merchandise and the marketplace. And so there might be more of a pull or focus on merchandise of beautiful things, or marketing, how to make marketing more sexy or appealing if you're running your own business or something like that, or maybe you're considering like a style change. And so these are all themes that we're going to be reviewing and rethinking over the next several weeks as Mercury goes through this retrograde. Also, it comes up as agreements in love and relationships, really kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty of like, is this what I want in relationships? Or, have I missed something in how I want to do relationships? Maybe there are expectations you or the other person have that you didn't realize you had that are now coming into your awareness. This could also be about business deals or business ideas, like thinking about, oh, is this really how I want to run my business? Or is this how I want to relate to others in business? This could also be about women's rights or justice around women, or power dynamics regarding women. So there's all sorts of different ways this could manifest. And also, Venus, I think I mentioned, just in general represents the women. So this could be, if you're not seeing this happening in your life, this might be happening in a woman or a femme person who's close to you. There might be something intense happening in their life around love, relationships, beauty, certain messages or business, or something like that. So there's all sorts of ways this could manifest. But yeah, definitely, I would say, a main theme is like, especially with Pluto there, really digging deep and uncovering your desire and talking about it. Mercury is always about communicating, talking about it, writing about it, what has been hidden to you that's now being uncovered. What are the bones of the kind of relationship or connections you want? Are you feeling that, that your connections or friendships are not doing well? Like, do you feel, there might even be this kind of like intense, like life or death stakes feeling of like, oh my gosh, like I haven't been taking care of my connections. I haven't been nurturing my friendships. How do I want that to look? What's kind of a structure I can put into place to make sure that I am nurturing those relationships? So, okay. Then, this is going to be felt really kind of all week, because on Saturday, the 31st, Venus then makes the conjunction with Pluto. And yeah, once again, themes of intense attraction, even obsession, obsession with someone or feeling like really deep feelings of love. There can be an element of feeling transformed through love or through relationships or through art as well, if you're an artist. Transformation of style, once again, if you like decide you want to like change your whole vibe and your whole look, this might be kind of a time where you're thinking about doing that. And I will say, there's kind of like positives and negatives to each planet, right? Like Pluto not only represents like passion and desire and intensity, but that can also be kind of bad, right? Like Pluto can also indicate violence. So this could be, there could be more. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw more things in the news around sexual violence with women, or perhaps the death of women, or something like that. So definitely, be careful, be mindful of where you're at and who you're with, and of subtle power dynamics that might not feel good. I would really encourage everyone to pay attention to what feels good and safe in their bodies. Okay. So then January 1st, Mercury, which is now retrograde, makes a sextile to Neptune. So once again, just a continuation of those kind of dreamy, connective conversations that are, romantic. Monday, January 2nd, Venus heads into Aquarius. So she's bringing sweetness and fortune and connectivity to the part of your chart that contains Aquarius. It might also, a general theme might be connections involving larger groups potentially. So if you are part of a community of some kind, it might just feel more connective or sweet or fun. And you might even experience more sensitivity to bringing people into the group who don't belong or who have been cast out in some way. Or, Venus in Aquarius in a birth chart is generally pretty sensitive to the feeling of not belonging and of not being part of the group. And so there's kind of a sensitivity to that with others. Okay, Wednesday the 4th, this is going to be really lovely. Venus in Aquarius makes a sextile to Jupiter in Aries. These are the two benefic planets coming together in a harmonious aspect. So this is really just a sweet, joyful, feeling good kind of day. Perhaps there's an opportunity that comes along. Maybe you just have a good time with a group of friends. Once again, it kind of depends on where this is happening in your chart, what houses that have Aquarius and Aries on the cusp. Thursday the 5th, the Sun in Capricorn makes a trine to Uranus. The Sun is really our sense of self and our sense of identity and who we know ourselves to be. It represents conscious awareness. And Uranus is a planet about individuation, differentiation, authentic expression, innovation, rebelling from the norm or what's always been done. So this might be a day, and I would encourage everyone to really think about what your truest, most authentic expression of you looks like. Are you really showing the most authentic expression of you? You might have a desire to do something differently on this day, to do something outside of the box or outside of the norm. But really, just thinking about, is there some part of you that you haven't been allowing to shine or allowing people to see? And what's a safe way that feels good that you might be able to do that? And then on Saturday, the 7th, Mercury retrograde makes a conjunction with the Sun at 16 degrees of Capricorn. So whenever Mercury or any planet comes into conjunction with the Sun, that means they're at the same degree in the sky. It's like that planet gets the Sun's light, the Sun's illumination, and then that planet is kind of like exalted in a sense or given special powers. And in this case, Mercury, planet of messages and communication and the mind, this is a time of new insights or perhaps realizations or new information or new awarenesses, particularly around what this Mercury retrograde is about for you. So perhaps there's a new insight or realization around, once again, the themes of relationships, since the Mercury retrograde started with Venus, conjoined with Venus. Could also just be about, whatever house is being highlighted with Capricorn on the cusp. So pay attention to that day, and I would definitely encourage some journaling, some thoughtfulness, some internal focus to kind of untangle what's there. And then on the 8th, Sunday, January 8th, Mercury retrograde makes a trine to Uranus. This is the second time that Mercury has made this trine. The first time was December 17th. So we might be revisiting a moment from December 17th, perhaps a conversation you had, a message, a piece of news. And this might be kind of like part 2 to the story, or connected in some way to that conversation or theme. And then, Mercury Uranus is always about new ideas, innovative ideas, or unexpected conversations or messages to come through, or and the trine is positive, right? Trines are 120 degrees between two planets and are of the nature of Jupiter, a benefic, life-giving, opportunistic planet. So it's, but there's going to be another trine between Mercury and Uranus when Mercury stations direct. I wish I wrote that down, but I didn't. But it'll be sometime in later in January, because Mercury is retrograde until the 18th, I believe. So I'll get that for you guys in the next video. But yeah. So this is just part 2 of a longer story around new ideas, new innovative ideas and conversations and messages, etc. I also wanted to point out that so Mercury's retrograde until January 18th, like I said. And I also wanted to point out that Mars, which is currently retrograde in the sign of Gemini, is ruled by this Mercury, which is also going to be retrograde until January 18th. So when I say ruled by, so in astrology, every planet rules over a sign. So Mars is in Gemini, a sign ruled by Mercury. It's kind of like Mercury is the homeowner of Gemini and Mars is staying there for a visit. It's like Mars is in this Airbnb that is owned by Mercury. And so Mars has to look to Mercury for the rules, for what's to be expected, what can be done. And when the owner of Gemini is retrograde as well, things can get a little bit messy. So don't be surprised if, especially between Thursday, December 29th through January 18th or January 12th, because Mars stations retrograde then, or sorry, Mars stations direct moving forward on January 12th. In that time frame, things might feel especially messy or confusing or controversy. So just keep that in mind. You don't have all the information yet. You're going through a process of exploration, and don't make any big decisions also during that time or sign any papers because it's likely you'll have to do it again. So that's it for the astrology of the next couple of weeks. Please reach out with questions. Once again, like, comment, subscribe. I'm available for readings. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful new year, and I will be back in the next couple of weeks for the next update. Bye.